Salute to all the real ones out there. It's your boy Mike coming at you again with another video. Y'all like the content I've been dropping, direction my channel is headed in, I need you to like, comment, subscribe, and share my videos with anybody else you think may benefit from them. Alright, now, Midnight Marauder series once again, back at you. The title of this video is Sysbm. Sysbm. If y'all ain't never heard that moniker, it stands for Save Yourself, Black Man. I find it imperative in this day and age to become a rogue agent, because specifically as a black man, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, rest in peace, elaborated on the different aspects of how society is weaponized and incentivized against black men specifically. Anybody who is of another race listening to this video, like, this is not meant to single you out, but as a black man myself, like, it took years of keen observation for me to come to these talking points, as well as my own personal research, diving into books on the topic, studying geopolitics, history, slavery, and what black people were before slavery. So a person like me has knowledge of self, and I carry myself as someone who knows about our regal background, who knows about, you know, key noteworthy black men and women, for that matter, in history that have been wiped out in order to control the narrative. Perception is reality. So Sysbm is imperative. And if you're a young black man listening to this channel, you need to really take heed to what I'm saying here. You gotta save yourself. Damn near everything you can imagine has been weaponized against you. And this video is not meant to highlight your victimhood. It's more to make you aware. You know, war is real. You are in a war, psychologically, financially, spiritually, physically, mentally. In all realms of human endeavor, you're being attacked. And this is for the masses in general, but we're talking about black men because I myself am a black man, and I know what it's like to look left and right and just feel like something is off. You know, for example, we're just going to go down the line of the things that I've already noticed, even when I was younger, but I was the black sheep in the room who couldn't really elaborate on what I noticed, because it would be like I'm looking too deep into it. I need to relax. I need to chill. But Sysbm is real because every facet of your imagination is weaponized against you if you look at it with a particular set of eyes. What does it say in the Bible? Like, he who has eyes, let him see, and he who has ears, let him hear. Like, you have to reach a certain level of discernment to unpack what I'm about to lay out in front of you here in this video. So first thing first, we're going to talk about, like, black culture, pinpointing specifically music. You know, when I was growing up, hip-hop was, in my opinion, in the golden age, because it had reached mainstream success. People knew that they could monetize and, like, ball out of control from becoming a rapper. So, you know, I'm 10 years old, 11 years old. I'm hearing, you know, NWA. I'm hearing Public Enemy. I'm hearing KRS-One, Rakim, You know what I mean? Grandmaster Flash, MC Shan, LL Cool J, you know, Nas, AZ, Wu-Tang, Onyx, OPP, Mobb Deep, MOP, Big Daddy Kane, like the list goes so far on and on. Big L, like all these people, Tupac, Notorious B.I.G., like Ice Cube, dog, like the names just keep coming. Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre. Like literally there are so many rappers that I can name from my era where, you know, Outkast, UGK. Later on came the T.I. Later on came, you know, Lil Jon, Eastside Boys. You know, I was listening to Jadakiss, Styles P, The Lox, Mace, DMX. Even on the R&B side, we had a ton of music. But I don't need to keep going down the rabbit hole of rappers. I've always been a lyric guy. So Nas has always been my favorite rapper. And I liked being able to, for example, close my eyes, listen to the words, and see a movie plot literally unraveling itself in front of me just from visualizing what was being talked about in these lyrics. You know, unpacking what Wu-Tang was telling me on their albums back then, and seeing that a lot of the stuff that they dropped is something like comedy. They're dropping a lot of truth, but it's encrypted. It's like hieroglyphics. And if you're smart and you follow lyrics, then you understand, hey, these rappers are dropping a lot of gems that I can apply to life to actually gain some traction. It was like guidance in a way, you know? But I understood already from a young age that the hip-hop industry is compromised, and we don't control any aspects of it. Outside of the face that you see on the album cover, who packages up these CDs back then? Who's in charge of distributing all this stuff? Who markets these rappers? Who takes these pictures and puts them in the album cover? You know what I mean? Who sets up the tours, and who books these artists for shows, and who tells them to, you know, line up with this clothing producer and promote their brand? Like, there's somebody in charge of a Nas. There's somebody in charge of a DMX. There's a label that has a bunch of people employed that you'll never see their face, but they profit off of the creativity of these artists. And these artists are being guided. They're being told, nah, not that song. We're going to put this song for your single. They're being told, nah, we don't like these 3 songs you just made. We need you to make a song about this, that, and the third. So it's being controlled. And it's not by your fellow black people. So already right there, when you unpack that and you fast forward through the evolution of hip hop to where it is now, bro, I don't even listen to hip hop for real. Either I'm listening to old stuff, my own rap, or I'm listening to like jazz hop from the channel Fantastic Music, where there's no lyrics. It's just a beautiful symphony of instruments. You know what I mean? With like a hip hop feel to it. Maybe they cut, you know, a line or two from Mobb Deep or whatever and like sample it in. Like, I like that type of blend of music. But for the most part, I can't even stomach hip hop anymore because it's so low vibrational, bro. And that's what I say. Sysbm is a real thing. Even when you just look at the music, like, get in a car and just zone out to what music is being talked about now. Like, there are no lyrics that uplift you, that guide you, that give you any gems of wisdom to apply. Bro, I don't even care about the new rappers because look what they look like. Have you heard an interview with some of these dudes? Look what they sound like when they talk. You know, tattoos all on the face and skinny jeans and weird ass hairstyles and all this other, you know, warped shit. Like, bro, there's nothing masculine about it. There's nothing that I can really feel proud about. If there was a person of a different race in my car, I wouldn't even play hip hop for real if it's not the old stuff. And even the old stuff, if I unpack the lyrics, I can't be too proud of it either with my current level of discernment. So it's like the one thing that is universal, which is music, that everybody can kind of resonate with, and we all use it for different purposes. To work out, to zone out, whatever you want to use music for. Like, I can't really feel proud of the current state of affairs when it comes to hip-hop, bro. I don't even recognize it as hip-hop. So, like, I detach myself from it, even though it comes from my group of people. And other people get to sign on and claim it. So it's effectively being ripped from under me, even though my ilk of black people is who created hip-hop. I don't even attach myself to it no more. It's like real toxic. And if you look at like some of the female artists, bro, like even back in my time, you had a Lil Kim, you had a Debrat, you had, like, it was already being sown back then, the seeds of destruction. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, as a black person now, I cut myself away from that part of the culture, which brings me to actual culture. You know what I'm saying? What makes a person who grew up in Kenya different from a black person that look exactly like him that grew up in, I don't know, New Jersey? What makes them different? It's the culture. It's the influence. It's what they consume. Not just diet, but what they consume. What do they listen to? What influences are they under? You know, when they go to school, what are the customs that they follow versus the dude back in Kenya? Even though they may look the same as black people, they are not the same. So, like, when I look at culture, I understand that Sysbm is a real thing, and it's something that you gotta really save yourself from, is the black culture. Like, what is the norm for us? I don't attribute myself in any way, shape, or form to this culture that I feel like is a runaway. It's not even us. Like, black people used to be like very in tune with their higher selves. You know what I mean? Like, we had racism and all these things that were against us to keep us under the thumb of white supremacy in America. But we were unified. We owned banks. We owned our own hotels. We owned movie theaters, taxi services, businesses. We had our own thriving commerce and neighborhoods. And we were a very, like, God-fearing people. And then you just look, like, at the evolution of events from, let's say, the 40s, 50s, 60s, and all the way to current day. And you could just see that we've been systematically dumbed down and torn apart with the culture. You know? Like, most of us grow up in single-parent homes. When did that become a norm? A lot of us heard, you know what I mean, that our dads or our fathers weren't needed. This is no slight at my mom or any of our mothers, but you got to understand what type of programming they were on to think that that was okay. You got to understand what type of programming our fathers were under to not, like, have a code of conduct. You know, for them to be away from us, you got to unpack, like, the trauma that came from you not having a dad in the home. It's not pointing fingers at, you know, this person or that person. It's just understanding, like, if you're a black man right now, you gotta just sit back and listen to what I'm saying right here. What happened to you is not normal. And though you can't point fingers, you do need to save yourself. How are you suffering the fact that you didn't have a dad around? Like, are you the most manly man that you could be? Or is there a lot of masculine principles that you're just lacking? Are you, let's say, in tune with the feminine? Did you even get femininity, nurturing, when you were growing up? Like, what is y'all culture? What does it celebrate? Does black culture celebrate you being an educated, let's say, tradesman? Or does it celebrate you being all tatted up and being a thug? Be honest with yourself. If you wanted to go find a level-headed black woman to be with, to start a family with, like, where would you go? Would you go to our church? Where would you meet her? Is she a virgin? What music is she listening to? What's her influence? Who has she been with in her past? Are you her first choice? If you're a stand-up black dude that got your head on the right way, who's talking about, let's say, being a righteous dude and moving with a code of conduct, is that what turns them on? We gotta unpack the statistics. We gotta unpack, like, the culture. Is it something that you feel is gonna lead you towards a fruitful life, or is it something that, like me, you detached from a long time ago because you realized that it was sowing seeds of destruction? You know, when you look at the average American black woman, like, is like, look on a global context. Is that what fits? You know, like I say, like, it's real dangerous when you start to think the way that I think. When you start to unpack certain things about your culture. What do y'all celebrate? For example, Thanksgiving. For real, as a black person, what are you celebrating Thanksgiving for? What does it really mean? Halloween. What am I celebrating? Why am I dressing up as a zombie and painting fake blood around my mouth to look like I, you know what I mean, ate somebody up? You know what I mean? What is this about? I don't understand. I don't understand, like, why are we celebrating Halloween? What kind of holiday is that? Only when you start to ask yourself these questions do you start to find yourself, like, leaning away from your culture. In a broad context, it's American culture, but either way, save yourself, black man. Ain't nobody about to come and teach you nothing. And your family, you're probably not going to inherit anything that's going to allow you to level up. I doubt there's going to be a life insurance policy that's going to put thousands of dollars in your lap when somebody that you close to passes away. I doubt that when you graduate college, you're going to be celebrated more than the dude who got out of prison. You know, if you a stand-up black dude right now and you out here on the dating scene, which I'm far removed from. Y'all know my situation. But I still empathize with my fellow brothers that are back in America, like, maybe with their head on straight and just suffering because they can't find a level-headed woman that's on par with what they think and believe, and they find themselves having to settle for, you know, a single mom, or, you know, they got to get with a girl who has a tattered history of dealing with all type of different dudes. Or they just say, fuck it, I'm gonna stay single. They don't maybe have a global mindset like I have to, you know, get up out the country. Some people can't do what I did or what other people do. They find themselves kind of stuck because they haven't shifted their brain to be in a different paradigm to have different results. Sysbm is a real thing because of all the stuff I'm laying out right here. And it's in no particular order. I'm just freestyling. You know? Sysbm in the regard of religion. You know what I mean? You heavy in the church. I'm not even going to really go head to head with some of the concepts that I see in church, but do you really need a middleman? I mean, can we look at the fact that, like, it's, you know, your church shuffles in, like, churches collectively across the board, especially in Black America, like, can we start to unpack how much money they get untaxed every year, but how a lot of the conditions that Black people face collectively still persist? How there's no collective effort to marry the problems that Black people face with the financial prowess of an institution like the Black church. How it's flooded with single Black women. I'll leave it right there at your lap. You know what I mean? I'll just drop it in your lap right there and just get you to think critically about some of these institutions that you're a part of, or that you're supposed to be a part of if you're following black culture. You know, how if you talk about submission, you know, if you want to be with a woman, you talk about submission, how you get just like literally the most viral. You get so much animosity when you just talk about a woman submitting to a man. Like that's the culture you in, where you got a woman that's domineering and the man just acquiesces. Nowhere on earth is that the norm. Nowhere, except in black culture. The woman coming out of the side of her neck saying this, that, the third. The man just accepting it and bending to her will. Like, where in nature is that? Only with hyenas do I see that type of dynamic. But every other animal follows a certain script. So we are totally out of order if you look at it. You know what I mean? Also, another thing, like when I look at, you know, Sysbm, like one thing that I learned early was finance. Like I just couldn't understand, like, okay, there are so many black people I see that do well, you know what I mean? But collectively, we haven't really moved the needle. And like, I would just look at people in my family, people that I came across, and like just in black culture, and I just noticed, like, money is like a real big issue a lot of the time. Like people either don't have it, or it seems like they have it, but it's being spent on the wrong stuff. Like everybody's wearing designer clothes. Like you go to the projects and it'll be dudes wearing the newest Jordans, having the latest cell phone or PlayStation or whatever the fuck. But when I just look, like the front door doesn't lock right, the house has a bunch of issues. You know what I mean? Like maybe the parents can't pay rent. Like that's an ongoing issue, that like basic amenities aren't covered. Or when you think about when somebody dies in the family, everybody has to come together and like do a fish fry or try to hustle up money on GoFundMe to pay for the person's funeral. And I just think to myself, like, I don't understand. Like when I was younger, I just didn't understand that. How is it that all these adults get up and go to work every single day, but nobody ever has money at their disposal? It's always that one patriarch in the family that gotta come to everybody's rescue. Like, what is that about? Is it that they don't make enough money, or is it that they don't have any type of strategy with their money? Sysbm, save yourself, black man. Like when I was younger, I understood nobody's gonna come rescue me. If they can't rescue themselves, how are they supposed to rescue me? So it was like a strong push in my own psyche to not only understand money, but to always have it. Like to always find a, like I gotta figure out something, because it doesn't make sense that I'm broke. I don't understand how you work so much of your life, but you broke. I used to literally hear adults say, I'm broke, man, I ain't got it. Oh, until I get paid, I can't do it. So I'm thinking, so what's that mean? Like, so that means 10 more days you got to get up, go to work, and then only after you get cut a check are you going to be able to make a move? And then I read books like The Richest Man of Babylon, and I understand one of the key concepts that I got from that book was always save 10% of whatever you make. So I just thought, like, that makes total sense. If I get $100 and I always sock away 10, and 4 years goes by, yo, I'm gonna have so much money. We're not even talking about investing at this point. It's just saving the money. I get $1, save 10 cents. I get $500, I save 50. Yo, that's a good policy. I'm gonna go ahead and implement that. And when I was young, like, I always had some type of money. Whether it be I'm 8 years old, 9 years old, 12 years old, and I got a little piggy bank. I remember, if y'all from Ohio, there's a store called Kroger, a grocery store. Yo, I used to go dump that change in there and come out $60, $70. And then right when I would do that, I would already sock away $6, $7, 10%. So it's like, dog, you always gonna have money if you implement that. Rich dad, poor dad. All these great books that tell you what rich people do with their money. And I just couldn't understand, like, for example, with Rich Dad Poor Dad, the concept of getting paid and always paying yourself first. Split screen, you know what I'm saying? Somebody broke, they get $1,000, they go buy the new watch, they go buy new shoes, whatever. I deserve, you know what I'm saying? I deserve to have something nice. I done worked hard, right? They go out to eat. Now they got some money left over. Oh, shoot. You know what I'm saying? I got to pay my bills. Oh, shoot. Dang, I only got so much money left. And they got to stretch until they get paid again. And I'm like, that is the silliest policy I've ever seen in my life. Meanwhile, the rich person or somebody that just has these key concepts, $1,000 up, immediately $100 saved. Now the rich person, you know what I mean? We're going to go into the investing here now. Oh shoot, let me cut, you know, 200, 250 and throw in some investment. And then they deal with the remaining 650. Now they like, you know what I'm saying, they on a budget. All right, you know, I definitely need to just keep 200 until I get paid, put that away. Now they deal with the remaining, let's say 450 to pay their bills or whatever. And they still got the 200 that they're going to be frugal with until they get paid. And as a policy, they keep doing this, right? You look at the end of the year, the dude who, you know, spends frivolously. He has literally nothing to show except for a bunch of just stuff. Look at the rich dude over here, or the person who just has a policy in place for money. He not only has money just saved, but he also has money that's invested, that's honestly leveling up and working for him like a full-time employee. Literally getting interest, dividends, and then maybe it's rolling on top of itself. So it's a snowball going down the hill. Right? And his investments eventually get so high where it's like he never even spent the money. I'm so glad that I saved myself. And that's the reason why I tell y'all, like, Sysbm is a real thing. And it's because of all the stuff I'm laying out. No particular order. Just a flow of consciousness straight to you. Like, save yourself, black man. Ain't nobody coming to rescue you. Black Lives Matter and all this, I can't breathe. And, you know what I'm saying? Every single time something happens, you get killed by police. You know what I mean? You got a bunch of people that want to do the same ineffective strategy. Up, go march. Up, put you on a t-shirt. Meanwhile, y'all don't have no type of militia. You know what I mean? You got a culture where if you wear red or blue or whatever, you tilt your hat this way, that way, you on this block or that block, like, you liable to have somebody that look just like you run up on you, rob you, shoot you, kill you. Yet if a white cop killed one of y'all, ain't none of those that same animosity that was coming towards you from wearing that hat this way or that way, nobody's about to band together and go after that cop. So you're a laughingstock on the world stage because you can't band together and become a dangerous force who fights for your own rights, who takes what's yours. You'll take it from your own brother, but you won't take it from the race that's like pinning you under their thumb. You're a laughingstock on the world stage, you know what I'm saying? An award show where everybody across the whole world watch it. You got dudes up there that can't even speak proper English, don't even use proper diction, and will get up there and say a bunch of nonsense, rapping about some bullshit, looking like a clown when you talk about like true masculinity. But that's your celebrity. Those are your celebrity. Your celebrities, your athletes, those are the ones who speak on political issues on your behalf. No scientist, no doctor, no economist. You can't even name one. But that's our culture. That's what we attribute ourselves to. And if you're a black person like me who thinks outside the box and has saved yourself, you're going to find yourself like a rogue agent. You don't even belong to any group. You're effectively ripping yourself away from everything that's quintessentially black. You're now a coon. You're now a sellout. Like, you're all these terms if you don't attribute yourself to that. You date outside your race, oh, you couldn't find a black. You know what I'm saying? It's like there is no way for you to actually be a part of this group. You gotta detach and effectively create your own culture that starts with your nuclear family. Whatever woman you decide, whatever race she is, yo, if she down with your program, she's supporting you, she faithful, loyal, yo, you better hold her close. Teach her everything you know. She teach you something from her culture. Y'all level up together and you become an elevated version of what you could have been had you, you know what I mean, had you had a culture that didn't make you detach. Sysbm. It's a real thing, bro. You gotta save yourself across the board. Across the board. Your history is whitewashed. You don't even know who you are, where you from. You can't say you're Native American. That's not what the dude looked like on the paper. Now does he? You can't say that black people were already in America. Nope. You were only there due to slavery. If you're the average black man, you're not going to pick up a book and start, reading with a voracious appetite to figure out what happened in the past and connect it to where you are now so that you can understand the future. No, you're not about to do that. All you care about is sports, right? Entertainment, rap. Anything superficial. You can't be deep. Not in your culture. You're not going to get a pat on the back for being a very deep, philosophical type brother. No. You a nerd, remember? You a bookworm. Ain't no woman ever came along and gave you a compliment for being smart or intelligent. Nah, only if you were hood. Only if you were street. Only if you were, taking penitentiary chances with your intelligence. That's when you were so smart. That's when you got credit. That's the culture you belong to, bro. And until you detach yourself from it, you will suffer. So real talk, man. Sysbm. Save yourself, black man. Save yourself.